This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Friday, April 14th, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. South Bend-based startup Juke will be a big player in tomorrow's Idea Week concert at Notre Dame featuring country star Walker Hayes. Founder and Irish alum Griffin Eaton says having his company's app designed for fan interaction is a testament to its growth potential.
It certainly is validation that this is something that people want to do, not just at a small, say, brewery level or even a 500 cap room, but even at the highest level of concerts.
Fans this week had a chance to vote on their favorite songs by Walker Hayes, who will perform the two highest voted songs during the concert. Juke's app won Notre Dame's McCloskey New Venture competition in 2021.
What we had then was, we were very small. Maybe we'd gotten 10,000 in revenue, if that. And to 2 years later, to be, at the Joyce Arena where I've seen hundreds of basketball games and, just to see, and our biggest show yet, it's pretty fantastic. And it all was a result of, really Notre Dame, the relationships, and they stepped up and said, this is really cool. This is an interesting, aspect to a show we can put on. And because they had Walker coming through, they went forward and talked to his team, and his team said yes. And so, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Juke had a six-figure revenue year in 2022 and is hoping to hit $1 million in revenue this year. Indiana University says Ash Soni, who has served as interim dean of the IU Kelley School of Business since last July, will continue without the interim tag for the next 2 years. Soni succeeded former Kelley School dean Heidi Kestner, who stepped down from the role to return to the classroom. North Carolina-based Nucor Corporation broke ground today on a $290 million expansion of its steel sheet mill in Crawfordsville. The company says in addition to growing production capabilities, the expansion will create 80 full-time jobs. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Get ready, Northwest Indiana. We're headed your way. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the inaugural Engage Northwest Indiana event, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. Tuesday, April 25th at Valparaiso University. We'll be diving into regional and statewide initiatives with a focus on talent, education, and issues shaping our economy. More at ibj.com/engage.
New Jersey-based Catalent expects productivity issues at 3 of its facilities, including one in Bloomington, will materially and adversely impact its fiscal third quarter financial results.
The contract development manufacturing organization that focuses on the biopharmaceutical industry said it was, quote, unable to achieve anticipated productivity levels at the Bloomington plant. Catalent also cited higher than expected cost at the facility, as well as its facility in Brussels, Belgium, and a gene therapy manufacturing site in Harmans, Maryland. The company said the low productivity levels and associated revenue are due in part to the continued need to implement enhancements to its operational and engineering controls following regulatory inspections that occurred earlier in the fiscal year. The company said it expects productivity levels to be restored to previously forecasted levels in the fiscal fourth quarter, which ends on June 30th. The news comes about 4 months after Catalent laid off about 400 workers in Bloomington, citing a decline in demand for COVID-19 vaccines, which the facility produces along with other products. Catalent is expected to release its fiscal third quarter earnings report on May 9th. Wes Mills, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Columbus Regional Health and the City of Columbus are finalizing a comprehensive master plan for the development of agricultural land in Bartholomew County. The health system said the plan will lay the groundwork for the types of development opportunities at the site. A previous study found that in addition to healthcare, the property could be used for residential, mixed-use commercial and retail, office space, hotel and tourism, and civic, community, and green space uses. The city is expected to begin its process for consideration of adopting the comprehensive master plan this spring, including collecting public input. Jeff Miner of Indianapolis has a pretty cool day job as an operator of the Skycam for the NFL and XFL, but he also has his own business in Indianapolis that he began during the pandemic, making Detroit and Sicilian-style pizzas.
I was able to make like 10 in my kitchen. I would put them out on the front porch and people would pick them up off the porch, and the feedback was exemplary, and I kept making them, and it just kept growing. And then my Instagram following kept growing, and everything. And then it became kind of a mystery. How do you get one? And that was kind of part of the fun too, It's because it's like if anything, COVID taught us that not everything's promised, and that you have to work to get some things.
Miner now sells his pizzas under the Sam's Square Pie brand out of Indy's Kitchen on the city's near north side on Thursdays and Fridays. He says he is looking for another possible pop-up location in Indy as well. The Valparaiso City Council is supporting a measure that would allow for future incentives for a boutique hotel development. Lakeshore Public Media's Michael Gallenberger reports Urschel Development plans to convert the 1899 Gardner School that for decades housed the Boys and Girls Club into a 58-room Grand Gardner Hotel.
Project manager Jennifer Brooks says the historic school will contain guest suites and an attic speakeasy, while new wings would be built to house additional guest rooms and banquet space.
We know that we have an architectural treasure here, and we're very excited about that. And we want to build a community asset that all of Valpo will look forward to using and having their friends and family come and use, as well as the university and the business arena here in Valparaiso.
The City Council Monday voted 5-1 to create a TIF district for the Grand Gardner Hotel, but Valparaiso Development Director George Douglas says they still haven't finalized a plan for those revenues.
They are asking for incentives. That's why we're here.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, we just haven't gotten to the nitty-gritty of those details yet. That will go to the Redevelopment Commission.
The allocation area now goes back to the Redevelopment Commission for a public hearing and final approval. For Lakeshore News, I'm Michael Gallenberger.
First Internet Bank CEO David Becker is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.